Hi everybody, and welcome to Pomeroy Art Academy's Breakfast Club. And in this episode, we're going to dive in and take a look at the uses of the exposure sheet. So let's get started. So here are the finer points of how to use an X sheet. And I've got this one page in front of me. Usually up here at the top are a space for like a production number, a sequence number, and a scene number. These are important because as the scene travels through one department after another, these numbers become very important in case anything gets separated and how they can put them back together again. Usually these numbers appear at the bottommost of each drawing that would be contained in the scene. Also, there would be a space here, doesn't include it on this page, but there would be a space here for footage. The total footage would be, let's say, 3 feet. And the animator's name would go right about here. Now we have all these columns here that are interesting. And there will be a lot of notes and a lot of things that will occur on here. It's funny, the first thing I do when I get my X sheet is I start to put the numbers down. Now there are no reference numbers on this, so I will usually put them in myself, which is great. And the thing about putting in the numbers for me, it gets me thinking in terms of frames and footages that I have for the amount of time to act my character out. And with an X sheet, it's 16 frames make a foot. 1.5 feet make 1 second. And I think I've mentioned this on another episode where the drawings are normally shot on 2s. So what we will have, and I've got this background level I'll use here because I don't want to use any of these number levels because each one of these will be for a particular character. And then this outside, these 2 outside columns, one is for dialogue and one is for action instructions that the director, sequence director, may give you. So I'm going to put my numbers right out here. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 16, and then so on. So I have 1, 2, 3. That would be a 3-foot scene. I'll put my mark with my pencil to give me an indication of where the scene cut is. So I have that amount of frames for my particular scene. And this will go down all the way to, let's see, frame 32, I think will be right there. So this will be frame 31, 29, 27, 25, and so on. Let's see, actually no, I'm wrong on that. That would be for I'm thinking of a 2-foot scene. Sometimes when I number these, I shortcut myself by doing this. I'll put 21, then 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and I'll do 31 in a line extending down to the first digit of the 2-digit number. 3, 5, 7, 9, 41. Another line from 3 to 4. And then this will go 43, 45. So he's got 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, made a mistake. This should come out to about 48 frames. And here, I'm glad I'm making these mistakes because this is a way that you can make sure that you know the frame count and how much time you have. 3, 5, 7, 9, 31. Extending down from 2 to 3. 3, 5, 7, 9, 41. 3, 5, 47. So we have 48 frames total for 3 feet. And I'm glad I made that mistake. That helps me. On the outside right here, if there is if this is a dialogue scene where a character is saying, "What do you want?" What you would see normally is you'd see exhale, EXH, and you see a little squiggle. That means a little breath is happening there before they say what. The word what do you want? And you'll see it spelled out sometimes on action. You have a breath, and then you'll see it on dialogue. You'll see it expressed in vowels and consonants. So you could see the graphic phonics of this whole word. So we have WH, the what will be, you'll see a squiggle, which means this is really a hot syllable or a very expressive syllable, a strong syllable. So that you'll see a squiggle that means put a lot of emphasis with your action and with your mouth movements on that W sound. And then you'll see a T, it might be a silent T, what, just the end of the word. And then you'll see do, you'll see a line under the D which has a squiggle under it, which it means it's a hard D sound. And U, with a line under the U, and then you'll see YO with a squiggle next to it. Want. Squiggle from the W sound, N sound, and then T sound right there. You would see something like that. And this gives you your placement for your mouth movements. That's where this really comes in. So I know that on the word what is expressed on frame 17, but for it to read correctly, you need to form that mouth movement, that little pooched mouth movement for the word what. That should happen on 15, at least 2 frames ahead of that dialogue. So otherwise it won't read as well. Sometimes you want to go as many as 4 to 6 frames, depending on how soft a delivery the word what is. Same thing for the word do. I would start to pooch the mouth out for the word what do. I would do that on 23. That would give me 2 frames of a pooched mouth to showcase before the word actually happens. You see the word happening in animation before it actually happens. That way you get perfect sync. That was taught to me years ago by one of my mentors, one of the 9 Old Men, Disney 9 Old Men, Frank Thomas. What do you want? So you have a breakdown of each vowel and consonant and where it appears numerically on your X sheet. So now you have a complete guide. And sometimes you may want to do little expression drawings or little diagrams or little notes to yourself about the gesture. If a character says what, you may want to extend the arms, put a little diagram of you extending your character's arms in the gesture, saying that, okay, by drawing number 11 or 13, I want his hands to be outstretched in anticipation for the word what. That will read really well. So you have about 6 frames there where you see this, then you're going to hear the word what. So that becomes a real important component of planning out your scene on your X sheet. It's funny, I was told by one of my instructors at Disney, Eric Larson, that in the old days during the 30s, when they were just learning their craft, being trainee animators, the directors would put notes, they would put diagrams of what the character would be doing on every particular frame, and you were never supposed to deviate from that. If you did, boy, you'd get a tongue lashing. So you'd have to be right on the money. You'd have to basically copy, transfer their idea, their little tiny thumbnail from their X sheet onto your full animation page, using that as the dynamics for your animated action. Because they'd already worked it out with the story people, they had worked it out with Walt Disney, they had worked it out with all of their art directors, that the action would be played out like this. So they would give you a little tiny thumbnail schematic to use and obey to make sure that your scene was working. And also, it's important, the X-Sheet helps you for your hookups. You know that if there is a sequence before you, sequence, say 5, scene 25. You'll go to that animator, you go to that scene, and you'll look at their drawing. If you have a direct hookup, you go to the scene in front of you and then the scene after you for your hookups. If you are a scene that's a mid-action hookup, you want to make sure that whatever the action is happening before has a nice smooth transition from your scene, from their scene into your scene, and likewise from your end of the scene into the scene after you. So these are all the little bells and whistles about how you can get great use out of your exposure sheet.